Hello, welcome back to channel Maths Magic. Today we are going to discuss one of the most important topic of the coordinate geometry. It's a gradient of a line. There is one more word to represent this gradient. It's called slope. So today we will discuss what is gradient or what is slope. So basically gradient or slope is steepness of a line. So if you have any line in a Cartesian plane, so we have to find how steep is that line in the Cartesian plane. So basically we will learn how to calculate this steepness using different techniques and method formulas. So first of all you just try to understand what this slope is. So let's say we have a point over here A, and then point over here is B. So if you are moving from left to right in the Cartesian plane, so you can see that line is going in upward direction, right? I'll give you one more example. So let's say we have another Cartesian plane. Now over here, if your point A is over here and point B here, now if you are moving in left to right direction, so over here you can say see that line is going in downward direction. So we have different direction on the same Cartesian plane. One line is going upward, another line is going downward. Now I'll show you one more line with the same direction. So let's say we have another line over here. You can see the same Cartesian plane, but over here steepness of second line is different than the first line. So we have to learn to calculate this steepness of line. So how do we calculate this steepness? Over here you can see if you want to reach from point A to point B, so you have to if you can recall our previous videos, over there we have discussed about the movement of a point A towards B. So over here you have to move horizontally from point A towards B, and then you have to move vertically from this point towards B, right? So we can name this movement, or you can say translation. So this is horizontal translation and this is vertical translation. So over here if you want to find slope or gradient of any line, so you have to find the ratio of basically vertical steps and horizontal steps. So basically how many steps you have to take from A to B in vertical direction and how many steps you have to take from A to B in horizontal direction. Ratio of these two steps, or you can say how many blocks you have to move, this ratio gives you slope, right? We have another name for this, y steps upon x steps. So basically how many steps you have to take in y direction upon how many steps you have to take in x direction, that is or ratio of that is called slope. So when I'm saying y steps and x steps, I just told you that if you have this Cartesian system and over here let's say this is marked with different blocks, so how many blocks you have to move from this point A towards B vertically. Okay, oh, this is vertical. So vertically, that steps divided by the horizontal steps which you are taking, the x steps. Now over here you can classify slope in two different parts. One is called positive slope, other is called negative slope. So what is positive slope? Positive slope are basically those slope when you are moving on the Cartesian system from left to right. If your line is going upward, if line is moving upward in Cartesian system, if it's moving upward, then we call it positive slope. Now what is negative slope? Negative slope, if you are moving on Cartesian system and your line is moving downward. So if you are moving from left to right, you have to be careful when you are moving left to right and your line is going upward, then it's a positive slope, and if it is going downward from left to right, then it is called negative slope. Okay, these were basic information about slopes. Now we will see how we can find the slope if it's given on the graph or coordinates are given. So let's check with different examples and I'll show you formula also. So over here I'll give you one example. So let's say we are having point A over here with coordinate, let's say 3, 1, and then you have another point B with coordinate, let's say 6, 3. Now you have to find the gradient or slope of this line. So as I told you, you have to find vertical steps and horizontal steps. So let's say this much is horizontal steps and this is vertical steps. So we have to calculate vertical change and then we have to we have to calculate horizontal change. So let's say first we will calculate vertical change, or we also call it y steps or y steps. So over here you can see that this point A is having y coordinate as 1. So this is 1, and then point B over here is having y coordinate as 3. So we are moving from 1 to 3 in vertical direction. So you can figure out the movement. So it's basically 3 minus 1. So we are moving 2 steps to reach B from A in vertical direction. So this is 2. Now we can calculate horizontal change or x steps. So it's very clear, this point A is having x coordinate as 3 and point B is having x coordinate as 6. So you are moving from 3 to 6. It's a 6 minus 3, which is 3. So you're moving 3 steps on horizontal direction or x step. So we got vertical change as 2 and horizontal change as 3. Now we have to calculate slope. So slope or gradient is going to be, for this particular line AB, slope is going to be 2 upon 3. Okay, I have not completed this line, so we are looking for the slope of this line AB or line segment AB. Got it? Now let's say you are given with just coordinates, not the graph. Then how can you find the gradient or slope of a line or line segment directly? So I'll give you a formula which you can use in general to calculate the slope of a line or a gradient of a line. So formula is very easy, and there is one important notation usually used to represent slope. It's m. So formula is y2 minus y1 upon x2 minus x1. Now what this y2, y1 and x2, x1 represent? So if you have any line and you have 2 points, any 2 points on that line with their coordinates as x1 comma y1 and then x2 comma y2, right? So if you are looking for the slope of this line, so what will you do? You will take the difference of their y coordinates and then you will divide that by difference of the x coordinates. Simply you can calculate the slope of a line. So it's a very easy formula. We can see the example. So let's say the coordinate of A is 3 comma 4, and then coordinate of B is let's say 6 comma 7, right? And we are looking for slope of this line. So we are having x1 as 3 and y1 as it was 4, and then x2 is 6 and y2 is 7. Now we will apply the formula. So over here it's y2 minus y1. So y2 is 7 and then y1 is 4 divided by x2 is 6 and x1 is 3. So it's 3 upon 3. So slope of this line is 1. Got it? So I think you have to practice more questions to clarify your doubts. If you have any doubts related to slope or gradient, you can ask me in comment. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. And I just want to add one more thing, that this is the basic knowledge of slope and gradient. There are properties related to slope and gradient which will come up in the next videos. Thank you for watching.